Hi, good evening, Bhagreshri ma'am.
Hello. Hi. Good evening, everyone.
So I think we can start the session, Bhagreshri, right?
Yeah, sure. Uh, we'll start. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Bhageshri. I hope everyone are doing good. So as yesterday we covered a few of the basic things of the Palo Alto portfolio and the firewall. So I would like to start a session with few of the basic questions about the firewall, right? So um, any research has been done by you guys? Do you guys have any questions before we start? Any more information anyone collected with regards to the Palo Alto firewalls, with regards to the scenarios, and as well as any sort of questions if you want to ask?
Uh, yeah, yeah, Pakistan here,
Yeah.
Karthik here.
Hi, Karthik.
Yeah, yeah. Day one I have not attended, but
Okay.
I want to know about the pre-request for this one. First thing, I'm basically my background is full of cloud technology only.
Okay.
Okay, so how it will be helpful for me, and I can able to grasp it and all. Can
Yeah.
you throw some lights on it?
Sure, definitely. First of all, thank you so much for the question. I think most of the people will have these kind of a questions, whether they are from different background, from cloud or Windows, or maybe working as on a routing or switching, or maybe working as a system administrators, right? So there will be no issues if you want to start learning about the Palo Alto firewalls. It will definitely add a very good weightage to your resumes whenever you trying to switch your career and whenever you are looking for a new jobs. So nowadays, most of the recruiters or in the most of the companies, they will not only look for just one domain, like only cloud or system administration. So it is good to have all the informations, like all the knowledge with regards to the networking, with regards to the firewall, with regards to the cloud as well. So once you start learning, Karthik, about the firewalls, you can add a dots between the cloud network and the physical network as well. So you will be able to relate it very soon. And you will be able to grasp it very quick. So it is not that tedious. It's just you just need some efforts learning some of the basic protocols, some of the networking concepts. So as you know, in the cloud, I think you might be working on cloud networking, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you learn about the cloud networking, we will also discuss cloud firewalls as well, like how how we can host the VM firewalls on cloud platforms like AWS or Azure. So yeah, that will be helpful for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Pakistan.
No problem. And with regards to the yesterday's session, we just covered some of the basic things about the Palo Alto portfolios, what are the different portfolios they have, what are the different products, and what exactly we are going to discuss in our training journey. And we just like spoke normally about uh, how other career opportunities you guys can get after you learn about the Palo Alto firewalls, and we just discussed about the OSI model, and as well as I just showed them about how exactly where we can place the firewalls, like just overview of it. So no problem if you guys haven't attended yesterday's class. We may get a video recording for that. You guys can watch um, uh, maybe later. So today we are going to start. We are going to discuss about the topology, the Palo Alto GUI, and a few other stuffs. So let me share my screen. Can anyone confirm they can see my screen?
Yes, we are able
Yes,
to
it
see
is
your
visible.
screen.
Okay, sure. Okay, so today we will try to cover these topics in our class. We will try to understand the Palo Alto GUI. So once you log into the GUI, what are the tabs that you have? So it's just a basic understanding of different tabs, how to navigate, where to create some security policies or the NAT policies, and we will also discuss about how to take a backup of the device, how to upgrade the device, and we'll have the security policy overview, NAT policy overview, and we will discuss about the types of interfaces today. Okay, the Palo Alto has, and further after this, I'll explain the topology in the lab that I have, and we'll discuss the session installation in the Palo Alto Firewall. Okay, so let's start the session. So as you here, as you can see, this is a Palo Alto Firewall which I have in my lab. So you can see there are three interfaces connected, right? So one is Ethernet 1, Ethernet 2, and this one is a management interface. Anyone know about what is management plane? Can anyone answer?
Used for installation, configuration, and management and troubleshooting. So maybe troubleshooting, but mainly installation and configuration.
Yeah, correct. So the management plane will handle mostly on the configurations and also about reporting and logging, right? So this interface, whatever we have, it's about, this is a management plane, okay? And these two are our data planes. So this is like a internet, the external network I have, okay? This is my LAN network. Okay, this is WAN, this is LAN. So LAN I connected to Ethernet 1/2, and the WAN I connected to Ethernet 1/2. You can say this is untrust, okay, and this is trust network. All right, so now let's first try to understand what are the different things that we can see on the Palo Alto Firewall when we log in. Okay, so okay, so whenever we log into the device, so I mean, how to configure the IP addresses, how to take the CLI access or the GUI access. So we will be going to do that lab session once we get the lab topology ready with us. So this is my personal lab. So this is kind of a ready. So I'm just browsing around how exactly the firewall looks like. So I think, I mean, considering from the basics, considering nobody has seen about the Palo Alto firewalls, or considering just to give a basic idea for the people who are very new to the firewalls. Okay, so if you guys have any questions in between, please feel free to ask at any point. Okay, so whenever we get a brand new firewall, okay, whenever there is a brand new firewall that is about to add into your network, or maybe it can be virtual firewall or it can be hardware firewall as well. Okay, so once you get the brand new firewall, what you will do, you will connect the management access. From the management access, you take the console access for the cable, console access for the firewall, and you will log into the putty session, and you guys will try to set the management IP address. Okay, so what exactly the management IP address? So this is the management IP address which I have set for this device. So once you set this management access, so you will have to log in with this management IP address. So whatever it can be. So your organization will decide which range of IP addresses that we need to give for the management access of the device. So what exactly the management access? Management access is nothing but to access the device through GUI. So it can be hardware device, it can be a VM device. Okay, so once you get the management access, you just need to type HTTPS and this IP address, and if you click enter, so you will get the GUI access, and you can log in with the password that you have set once you have taken the console access. Okay, so this is this once you logged in, you will see the dashboard tab, and under the dashboard tab, you will see this is a management access, the management IP address that we have set, and this is a net mask, and this is a default gateway. Okay, and apart from this, we will see the model as well. As you can see, this is a PAVM model, which is virtual firewall, and where exactly it is hosted. So to understand where this firewall is hosted, so if the firewall is hosted on any of the AWS or GCP, under the CPU ID here you will see it is hosted on GCP, AWS. So this terminologies will be little different in the VM firewalls. Otherwise, in the physical firewalls, it will come as a model as PA220, PA800, PA 3200 or PA 5K series firewall. So here you will see the model as PA 200 or 800 under the model section. So this way, by looking at this, you will understand what kind of a model it is. So every model has its own a little slight difference. It looks exactly the same, but little here and there. Okay, and one more thing very important is the serial number. Okay, so if you have a serial number, then the firewall is licensed. You have a right licenses on the firewalls if there is a serial number. If the serial number is unknown, which means the firewall doesn't have the serial number, like it cannot by default, if you don't have the serial number, so or any license, 248 sessions it can handle without any license. So but if you want to go beyond this, you need to have a serial number or a proper license on the firewall. So by looking at this, you will understand what is the serial number. Okay, and the one more important thing is software version. So whenever we log into the device, we will check what is the OS of the device, right? So for example, Windows 10 or Windows 11, as you have OSs on the Windows, same way, the Palo Alto has different types of OSs. So this is on 9.0.4. Okay, so now there are 10.0 as well, 11.0 as well. So there are multiple different software versions. This is little older version. So which is on 9.0.4. There will be a little slight differences here and there, and also you need to look at which is the end of the life of the device, and based on that, we have to upgrade the device. So whenever we log into the device, it is always good to look into these informations to understand what is the model, to understand where it is hosted, if it is a physical, what is the model of the device, and also what exactly the OS of the version. Okay, so this is how it is. And here I told you is, I mean, if you guys remember about what is data plane, what is data plane and the management plane. So here you can see two system resources, right? So one is management CPU and another one is data plane CPU. So I will show you in a minute how exactly the management CPU and the data plane CPU will work in real-time scenario. Okay, so if the management CPU is going beyond 90% or 95%, you will not have the GUI access of the device. It will just kick you out whenever you try to log in. So it's always try to monitor the CPU. We can also set the alerts for the management CPU. If it is going beyond 80%, it will send an alert to the system engineers so that they can come back and fix the high management CPU usages. So this is quite smaller device. So that's why you will see 14% even there is no usage on the device. And data plane CPU is just about 1%. So as I said, data plane CPU is for the signature match, or all the app ID or URL ID. So those all security policies match, or the traffic like zones, interfaces. So those all things will be handled by data plane CPU. Whenever we have that kind of a traffic, whenever the firewall is inspecting those things, it will keep on increasing the data plane CPU. Okay. So this is all about the basic dashboard. And the next thing, any questions here?
Yes, the Linux version. This is a Linux, or they have its its own OS. They have created
Yeah,
Cisco has
Palo,
iOS.
yeah, so it's based on the Linux only. So if you like run certain commands on the CLI, it is like a Linux based. So we call it as a PAN OS, which is Palo Alto OS.
Maybe it's their own. And this
Yeah.
management CPU and data plane CPU. It's a physical CPU, it's a virtual CPU. They divide between one physical CPU.
Okay, it depends on what kind of a device you have. Suppose, let's say the device is hosted on any of the virtual machines. So you will have the virtual CPUs. Okay. And if the device is hardware box, so the memory allocations and the CPU is, the hard disk will be added to the hardware box, just like your phones or maybe a Windows machine. So if you are hosting a Windows machine on AWS, you will assign the virtual CPUs to it, right? So, or maybe in the VMware, if you guys are hosting any of the Windows machine or Ubuntu or Linux, so you will assign the virtual CPUs to it. The same way here also, for the Palo Alto firewalls, so we will assign the virtual CPUs if we are hosting it on the AWS or,
So
yeah.
it has a physical device, right? By Palo Alto, I have physical device. So
Yes, there
when
are
you
there are
choose
two yeah, there are multiple types of firewalls as well. They also have the physical devices. They also have the virtual devices.
And
so
this is NTP is synced with this Palo Alto or what? National
Yeah,
Time Protocol.
yeah. So actually, the NTP thing. So we have to configure that. So that I will show you in a minute how we can configure that. So some of the basic things that we need to take care. In the real-time scenario about the NTP things. So here there is a NTP configuration. You can configure your NTP server addresses here.
Ma'am, how do you know that it's on-prem or on the cloud?
Okay. So the very easiest way to identify that is to look at the model. So you see that this is a PAVM model, which is VM means virtualization machine. Okay. In case of hardware device, you will see it as a PA200, PA800, or PA3200.
Okay,
Okay.
that's going to be the on-prem.
Yeah, that is for the on-prem, and this is for the cloud VMs. And
Got
if
Thanks.
once you get to know that this is VM, you can check here the CPU ID. So here it is KVM, right? So the KVM is one of the virtual machine. So if you have hosted this on the AWS, instead of KVM, you will see as AWS. Instead of KVM, if it is hosted on Azure, you will see AZR, or you will see GCP if it is hosted on Google.
Understood.
Okay.
Thanks.
So it means it has been hosted on the Linux environment, right?
It is hosted on, so right now it is on EVNG platform. So I'm sure I think you're a little bit confused about the Linux platform and the cloud platforms, right?
No. Actually, the thing is that
Yeah.
KVM is the proprietary of the Linux.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, that's correct. Even though
So
I
that's
have it on the EVNG, it will still come as KVM because that's the OS that I've uploaded to this device.
okay. And one more thing I would like to know: there are two CPU,
There
and
are two CPUs, yeah.
it is what is optimal performance of the CPU when there is a threshold of the CPU, and that is crossing the limit, then where we can proceed for to load try to load balance the traffic.
Okay. So the Palo Alto firewalls will not allow you to load balance between the management CPU and the data plane CPU. So whenever you assign a license, like for example, for the VM, it is VM 100 or VM 500. So for the VM 100, you will have to assign four virtual CPUs. So for the four virtual CPUs, automatically it will divide two each. 2 in the management CPU, and 2 in the data plane CPU. This is for just VM100 device. And for the VM500 device, so you will have to assign 6 virtual CPUs. In the 6 virtual CPUs again, 2 will be assigned to the management CPU and 4 will be assigned to the data plane CPU. So we cannot load balance between them. What we can do is we can set an alert for the management CPU if it is going beyond 80%. So we will set an alert, and that alert can be sent to any of the system engineers or anywhere you want to send a report. So that way we can do.
In VMware, it's like when this load is increasing almost to 75%, we understand that now we have to provision the another infra for the load, right? For the uh,
It
load.
is,
So
yeah.
like that only you are saying that is 80%, right? Load
Mm.
should not be increased 80%.
Yeah.
So in latest firewall, how many cores are available in the physical CPU? And
Sorry?
I'm understanding that here only there is no redundancy of the CPU in the firewall. Is that correct?
No, no, it is not like that. So here there are not only one CPUs. In the backend, you will see multiple CPUs. So under the management CPU, you will have 2 CPUs, and under data plane CPUs, depending on the model that you will have 4 or 6 vCPUs, virtual CPUs. And between these virtual CPUs, the firewall will divide its traffic. The firewall will try to do a load balancing on this virtual CPUs. It's not solely dependent on the single CPUs. So it is divided on the cores.
So, ma'am, if I may ask, you are asking about the load balancing.
Yeah.
What about the DR?
Disaster recovery on the
Yeah,
on the CPUs or on the firewalls?
on the Palo Alto.
Okay.
If
So that,
example like on the cloud, this is down.
yeah.
Means I think you understand, right?
Right. So what do you mean by that? Like, suppose let's say you have, I mean, what we can do is we can build HA between these 2 firewalls. So to have the disaster recovery, to have the less impact if the firewall goes down. So we will have the HA between these 2. If this device goes down, so this will be up, which can be acting as active passive. So this device will be in a silent mode. And once this device is triggered to down, so this will become active and all the traffic will be passed between this. Another concept is active. So these 2 firewalls will be in sync and the traffic is divided between these 2 firewalls and the sessions are synced between both of these firewalls. So this can be done on the Palo Alto firewalls.
So these are in different locations.
No,
Let's say I'm hosting on the Azure.
Yeah, on the Azure itself we can do.
Thanks.
Here, the high availability, there is a configuration for the high availability. So we can, we are going to do that, do those things like a step by step, not
Yeah, I
only.
understand,
Yeah.
but I just wanted to know the.
Yeah, exactly. So we can do
I
it
know
on
that
the Azure, we can do
go
it
ahead.
on any of the cloud platforms, we can do it on the physical firewalls as well.
On-premise. Right.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. Any other questions?
What are these policies in this
I have a
firewall,
question as
Palo
well.
Alto?
Yeah, so that we are going to explore one by one. So I'm here at the dashboard, right? So I will explain you what exactly the ACC report monitor policies will go one by one. Okay.
I have a question as well.
Sorry?
I have a question. Will you be able to show us how to configure DOS protection?
DOS protection, sorry, your voice is not that clear. Can you repeat again?
I'm saying, would you be in a position to show us how to configure DOS protection?
He's
Um,
asking for DDoS.
Yeah, I know. So for the DDoS, so I can show you the configurations part, how to do the configuration and where exactly the configuration that we can do. But I may not able to mimic the environment, like mimic exactly if there is any attack on the device, how the DDoS attack will come into the picture. But definitely we can, I mean, I will be showing how to configure the DDoS profiles, how to attach it to the wildfire submission so that it will have its how it will come into the picture.
If you have any documentation, maybe you can share the guides.
I don't have as of now, but once we start our trainings, like once we start doing our lab sessions, I will share it then. All right, so let's move and
So for the sake of training, we'll be using the same software version, the 9.0.
sorry, for the sake of
Training that we will be using the same version as that you are sharing now, 9.0.4.
No. Actually, this is my personal environment. So we are going to have the labs, which we will be building on the public environment where we can give you guys access as well. So there we will see what best PAN OS that we can get and give you guys the access. So as of now, this is just a demo purpose. I'm just showing you the software version.
That is the real device.
This one?
The live access you are saying you will provide.
You mean the real device in the sense?
Yes, and that is a real device, or this it is also implemented on virtual.
Okay, this one I think
not this one. This one.
it will be a hardware device. Yeah.
Hardware device, real device mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, the virtual device is also real only. It is not like a dummy or something. Only the thing is, it is hosted on the VM or any of the cloud platforms. We call it as a VM device. That is also real. It's just the hosting method is different, and some of the working things are little different. Other than that, 95% the device will act as the same, and it is real. Yeah.
मैम लाइसेंस वर्जन है या ट्रायल वर्जन है मैम इसमें?
Sorry.
ये जो आप एवीएनजी में ये करा रहे हो मैम, पालो अल्टो, ये लाइसेंस वर्जन है या ट्रायल वर्जन है मैम?
हाँ, अभी तो मैं लाइसेंस वर्जन में हूँ, मतलब अभी तो सीरियल नंबर कुछ भी है नहीं इसमें, तो दिस इज काइंड ऑफ देयर इज नथिंग ऑन इट, ओनली 1000 to 48 सेशंस द डिवाइस कैन हैंडल.
ओके, क्योंकि मैम इसमें क्या होता है ना कि इसमें काफी सारी चीजें हम जिस तरह पॉलिसी वगैरह लगाते हैं, इम्प्लीमेंट करते हैं, तो इसमें काम करेगा मैम?
हाँ, मोस्टली करेगा, मतलब
ये
जो भी हम लोग एक्सपेरिमेंट करने वाले हैं तो दोज थिंग्स विल डेफिनेटली वर्क. You don't need license for everything.
So do we also cover to Panorama to some extent?
Yeah, definitely. I will definitely cover the panorama as well. So, I mean, we'll introduce about how panorama will work, how to onboard a device to the panorama, how we can manage the device. Yes.
मैम कितने मॉड्यूल है मैम इसके पालो अल्टो के मैम?
So the modules are very huge, but I will be covering most of the things which are very relevant to industrial experience, and as well as about considering the interview point of view. So we will be having around 45 sessions, around 40 to 45 sessions every day, like between Monday to Friday.
ओके, 1 आवर का मैम सेशन रहेगा या
1.5
या
hour?
30 मिनट? ओके.
And we will for the 30 minutes we'll keep it for Q&A.
Okay.
Ma'am, the session timing will be the same.
Yeah, it will be from 9 p.m. IST. Yeah.
Okay.
Do we cover the cloud security as well in this program?
No, not exactly the cloud security part, but I will be covering about the AWS and Azure, how we can host the firewall on that. So because the Palo Alto concepts are very huge, so it is very difficult for me to accommodate so everything in the 45 classes, but we'll try to cover 1 or 2 sessions for the cloud as well, like how to host the firewall, what all the prerequisites that we need, and once we host the firewall, what exactly we need to do. Yeah.
Understood. Thank you.
If I may ask, what are the certifications we can do
Okay.
after your
So we are mostly concentrating on the PCNSE syllabus, which is the Palo Alto, and it is renamed as the Palo Alto Cloud Security Certification for now. Before 1st August, it was PCNSE, and the basic one was PCNSA. PCNSE, PCNSA was the advanced level. PCNSE is the expert level. So now they have renamed it as Cloud Security, the Palo Alto Firewalls, but the syllabus is exactly the same. It's just the naming convention is different, and the little syllabus is different here and there. So you can appear for that exam.
Okay, thanks.
All right. All right. So let's move ahead and see what exact. So we just looked around what is dashboard, right? So what exactly we need to see here under the dashboards and about the system resources as well. So here, if you see, I mean, these things we can change here and do any sort of information. Suppose if you don't want to see the interfaces, we can remove. So as of now, I have 2 interfaces attached to it, right? So that we can see whether if it is showing in red, that interface is down. If it is gray, then it is not configured. So if it is in green, the interface is up. Okay. So now let's see and look ahead and see what is ACC report. So under the ACC report, we can see as of now, I don't have any traffic on it. So that's the reason it is kind of a blank. But whenever we are troubleshooting any sort of attacks or any sort of system informations, so we will come here and set the timings, and based on the timings we will try to check if there is any attack or if there is any session threads, contents, URLs. So there are multiple options that we can see, even the network activity, threat activity, and blocked activity as well. So it will, I mean, this is to this, the ACC report usually comes in handy while we are troubleshooting any bottleneck, or if there is any threshold that the firewall is reaching, or if there is any bandwidth, high bandwidth utilization or something like that. So the ACC report will come into handy. Next, the tab is monitor tab. So under the monitor tab, this is to see the traffic individually. So usually the monitor tab will show the management traffic only. So not, sorry, the data plane traffic, not the management traffic. To see the management traffic, we need to use the CLI session for that. So here we can see the threat, URL filtering, wildfire submissions. So HIB matches for the Global Protect, which is a VPN, the tunnel inspections, and these all things. And here under the PDF report, we can actually add a report where we need to set any sort of report generations or those things. So we can configure here. And also if you are troubleshooting something, here we can take the packet captures. So we need to add the stages like drop, and the file name I can give it as drop. Okay, and then the next stage is the receive. Okay, receive means what exactly the firewall is receiving. It will capture this. Okay, And once we do that, we will turn off this, and it will give you a little warning, because if we turn on the packet captures, so there is a chance of having high CPU utilizations. So that's why it is always a good practice to turn off the packet captures once the troubleshooting is done. So, okay. And then manage filters and pre-pass match as well. So these things also we can keep it on. And once these are on, we can go to the real machines or the LAN machine. We can try to ping the firewall or maybe internet or somewhere, and whatever that is passing through the firewall, it will capture it here and it will generate a files here. So once it is generated, we can download and we can analyze it. So this is one more important thing in the Palo Alto firewalls, how to capture the packet captures. Okay. For the Palo Altos. Okay, I'll turn it off. And then next, policies. So under the policies, we have security policies. So what exactly the security policy? Anyone can answer? Anyone have any idea what is security policy?
Security policies like the internet access policies for the user base authentication. So whatever the department is there, you can configure the policies to access the internet, what kind of website access they need,
Yeah.
what kind of NIT rules we can configure in policies.
Yeah, definitely. That's correct. So security policies are to allow or deny the traffic or the user access, whether we need to give the user access to certain zones or certain maybe internet or somewhere. Suppose, let's say, if this user wants to communicate towards the internet, on the security policy, we have to allow this user. So the firewall should be able to recognize this user, should be able to pass this user information towards the internet. Okay, so this is my internet and this is my management interface. From here, I'm trying to access the device. Okay, and the user, if the user is trying to access towards the internet, he will try to reach, the traffic will first hit to the firewall, and the firewall will process the traffic towards the internet if the firewall has the rules in it. Okay, so as you can see, this is a kind of very wide open rule. So what information that we need in the security policy. So today I'm just like going to an overview. I'm not really going in deep in each and every aspects. I'm just showing you around how exactly the security policy looks like, how exactly the firewall looks like, what are the things around. Okay, so at any point, if you guys have any questions, please let me know. So at this time, I mean, the source from where exactly the traffic is coming. So I can choose the source as trust or untrust. Okay, so here you can see the traffic is coming from trust. Okay, I can choose the trust zone. You can add the addresses as well, source address, what is, I mean, there will be certain ranges, right? So for the you may have given the LAN ranges 192, 168 or whatever it is. So you can choose those ranges, or we can keep it, I mean, mostly in the organizations, they will choose the range. Okay, and here it is the user information. We can add the source user as well. And here the destination, where exactly the traffic is going. Okay, so you can see the traffic is originating from trust and it is going to untrust. So that's the reason the destination zone is untrust. And applications, like you can choose what kind of applications that we are using. Suppose, let's say SSH or HTTPS or TLS or whatever it is, we can give the access based on the application as well. Okay, and so services and URL category, we can add the URLs like facebook.com or amazon.com. It's just an example. We can add any of the URL categories. It will the firewall check. And the last thing is whether we need to allow this traffic or deny this traffic or drop it. So this is where we set the what action that we need for this rule. Okay, so this is about the security policy. What security policy will do, it whenever the traffic that hits to the firewall, it will check the security policy, whether we have a security policy in place to allow this traffic or not. Okay. And next is a NAT traffic. Can anyone explain what is NAT? Any idea what is it?
IP network address translation from public to private, private to public IP translation.
Yeah, right. And why we
Basically,
need NAT?
basically it
Yes,
won't
sir.
expose the public IP to the private IP to the public.
Exactly, that's correct. And why we need that NAT on the firewall?
It will prevent public access to the private network.
Yeah, that's correct. All right. So why we need a NAT on the firewalls? Sorry.
Address translation. Multiple devices will be on the private network to share a single
Yeah,
IP.
that's correct.
So designed for security and controlling network traffic, right?
Exactly, that's correct. So, what NAT is? NAT is network address translation. So, whenever we are trying to reach from private IP towards this is my LAN, right? So, this LAN will have its own private IP. So, this private IP is going towards the public. So, we should not expose this private IP on the internet. So that's the reason the firewall will do NAT here. It will translate this private IP address to one of the public IP address. This is an untrust interface, right? So I will give one of the ISP provider will give the public IP, and I will translate all the traffic that is coming from LAN. I'll translate to the single IP address which is provided by ISP, and I'll route the traffic towards the internet. And whenever it comes back, it will again, the firewall will check that traffic and it will convert that and it will send back to the source user. So this is how the NAT on the Palo Alto firewall will work. So this is just one single user, right? But we may have multiple 100 users or 200 users, even if you never know, you may have n number of users. So all these user traffic will be converted to the single IP addresses, and then it will send out to the towards the internet. So that's the reason we need NAT on the Palo Alto firewall. So here we will just name it as a maybe test or something. And then original packet. So what original packet is? From where the traffic is originating from. Okay, the traffic is originating from our LAN network, which is a trust network. So what we can do, we can add a trust as a source zone. And what is destination zone? Where the traffic is going towards the internet. What is the destination interface? Okay, here we can see what is the destination interface is Ethernet 1x2. So Ethernet 1x2 we can choose, and any sort of services, if we want to give HTTP or HTTPS, that we can define the source address and the destination address we can define. And here it comes the translated packet, where exactly we are, to what IP we are translating the packet. So here we can add all those informations. And translation type. So there are types of NAT in the Palo Alto firewalls. One is static IP, one is dynamic IP, and dynamic IP and port. So we will discuss in detail about what static NAT, what is dynamic NAT, what is dynamic NAT with a PAT. So these are different types of NATs that we have in the Palo Alto firewall. We will do those lab sessions in our class. Okay. And the QoS, quality of service. Suppose we can have the bandwidth utilization on the QoS as well, on the source zone, source address, and the destination zone as well. And policy-based forwarding. So these are different types of the policies that we can configure, and here we can create a DOS protection as well, as someone was asking about the DOS protection configuration. So we can create the DOS protection here, and we can attach multiple profiles like wildfire or anything towards it. Okay, next comes to the object. So what is the object? So object is nothing but so at there we can create addresses, address groups, regions, applications. So there are multiple objects that are present in the firewalls. We can call these objects in the security policy. Suppose let's say I have a test object, right, which has the type as IPNet mask, and this is the IP address. So what I can do, I can come here and call that object under security policy. Okay, here. So the source address, if I see, this is a test address, which the address group that I created. So instead of just typing one by one IP address, we can create a group as well, or a single IP address. So that's the object. There are multiple other things which are helpful when we are going to discover the global protect or the custom objects. So these are different profiles again. So we will discuss in detail on the object. So just have a grasp, or just understand what are different tabs in the firewalls. Okay. Now let's come one more important tab, which is network. So under network, we can configure the interfaces, zones, routers, IPsec configurations, so and the global protect. So these are a few important things that we configure on the firewall. So you can see here in my lab, I have Ethernet 1x1 and Ethernet 1x2. On my firewall, you can see Ethernet 1x1 and 1x2 is configured, right? So both are layer 3 interfaces, but how I divided them as zones, one is trust zone and another one is untrust zone, security zone. So it depends what exactly the zone that you define. You can define it as public or private or anything. So Palo Alto Firewall is a zone-based firewall, right? So it will assign these zones when it is going to check the security policy. Okay. So there are other types of interfaces as well. So as you can see, this is a layer 3 interface. We have also layer 2 interface, virtual wire, and HA and TAP. So these are different types of interfaces on the Palo Alto firewalls. So we will have to understand what is the significance of these different types of interfaces. So we will also discuss this tomorrow in my class too, or maybe in the next class. So we will first try to understand the interfaces. This is kind of a very basic, and from here we will have a deeper understanding about the firewalls. Okay, next is device. So under the device, it's this is where we mostly do the management configuration, operation, services, interfaces. So this is everything. So as we can see, this is a management interface, right? So this is a management interface. So here on the firewall, this is the management interface configuration. You can see this is set as a DHCP, right? So this interface is that I have set it on the DHCP. So whatever the IP address I am getting, this IP address is set on the DHCP. So we can configure it as a static as well. And if we configure as a static, we need to give our own IP address, which the organization will allow, and there should not be any duplicate while accessing the device. So either we can keep it as DHCP or the static version. Okay. So any questions till now?
Yeah, I have one question. And question is that in router also we perform netting, right? And in
Netting?
firewall also netting. Yes,
Yeah.
net.
Yeah.
Network address translation.
Yeah.
But in firewall also we are performing netting, right?
Yeah.
So once we have done netting at router level, why we are performing again netting on firewall level?
I didn't.
Or we are replacing router here. We are not using router. We are just
Okay.
directly performing netting over the firewall
Yeah.
level.
Okay. So you mean that we are doing a natting on the router. So why we need to do a natting on the firewall as well, right?
What will be best practice, and that is what I'm asking.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, the best practice is to create a natting based on the company requirements. Okay. So if the company has like maybe less than 500 or 1,000 users, usually people will do a natting on the firewall itself. So whatever the traffic that hits to the firewall, it will perform a natting on the firewall and it will pass. We also have on the firewall the routers. Okay, so we can configure BGP, OSPF, and other types of routing as well. So that's the reason the firewall is a next generation firewall. It doesn't mean that we need to completely eliminate the router. We can still perform the OSPF and BGP over here. It doesn't mean that we need to eliminate the router. So it just mean that so whenever we are configuring OSPF and adding certain routes here, it's like easy to monitor, easy to make it in a reliable way. That's it.
Okay.
What is this
So
in network?
also,
What is this IPsec crypto?
What is?
IPsec crypto. IPsec crypto.
Okay, so in the IPsec, so here we can see, right, IKE crypto, IPsec crypto, and IKE gateways. So whenever we are configuring IPsec tunnels, these three are basic building blocks to create IPsec tunnel. So here we need to call that IKE gateway and IPsec crypto profile. And once we call these profiles, then only we can build IPsec tunnel. So we will discuss about like IPsec crypto is nothing but we will have the encryptions, authentications, and DH group, like what encryption method we are going to use, what DH group that we are going to use to create the IPsec tunnel. And while we are creating the IPsec tunnel, we will call that profile here. Does that answer your question?
Okay. This BFD profile is also there. BFD sessions is also there, right?
Sorry, which one?
BFD profile.
Yeah.
BFD sessions are there or what in this network?
Yeah, right. So in the BFT sessions, like it's about how the transmission intervals receive and transmit things. So we will try to give a limit on it. And we can add this BFT profiles to any of the, if we are configuring IPsec or GRE tunnel, we can call this BFT profiles over there.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So let me see where we are. So any questions till now, or I will just explain you quickly about how to take a backup of the device.
just a very basic question, I would
Yes,
say.
please.
So in general, I mean, if we have to ask anybody, like, where would you keep the firewall in general? I know it depends on the requirement, but in general, the very standard practices, the best practices
Yeah,
I can say.
exactly. So if you can see my screen, I mean, these were the basic things that we discussed yesterday. So if you see the topology, so we always place the firewall on the exterior side
Always
before
into
the
the in the edge of your
yeah.
network. I mean, the perimeter.
Exactly. On before the internet, before we are exiting from layer 3, then we will, after a router, we will always place the firewalls. So what is the functionality of the firewall is like it will inspect the traffic, right? It will see whether if there is any malware or vulnerabilities, or if the user is visiting any malicious site or downloading any malicious content, the firewall should able to alert that thing to either system administrator, or it can block it straight away. So if we place that on the exterior side, so before it is even entering inside your network, so the firewall will block that. Understood? Yeah. Any questions?
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's see, whenever we are doing some changes on the firewalls, whenever we are trying to work on the firewall. So before making any huge changes or before upgrading the firewall, it's good practice to take the backup of the firewall. So where we can take the backup of the firewall is under devices, under operations. So here you can export the device state. So if you click on the export device state, so it will download a file here. Okay, this is one method. Another method is here you can come to the support. Whenever you are contacting any tag person or to any sort of issues, so they will always ask you to generate a tech support file. So where we can generate a tech support file, under device support, you can generate a tech support file. It will take some time, so I'm not clicking on S. So I'll just leave it. I'll click on no for now. But this is where you generate a tech support file. Okay. So what is start dump file? What are core files? So start dump files, suppose let's say the firewall gone through any sort of disruptions, or if there is any issues on the cable or interfaces, any if the interface, if it has created any critical events or something like that. So these dump files are helpful for the analysis. The core files are useful when we have when we need to give or when we need to analyze the root cause analysis of the firewall. Suppose let's say the firewall went down and it gave a business interruption to company. Okay, or maybe without any reason the firewall just got shut down, or that is kind of very rare, and it is very business interruption type of things. So that's where, if the firewall is faulty, if the firewall maybe the fan is not working inside the firewall, or any sort of CPU corrections corrupt, or these type of things, it will generate a core files. So we need to download these files and try to analyze. So this is about generating the files. So this is where you generate a tech support file, and this is where we save the configurations and export it. So what is candidate config and what is running config? So those things are little tricky, but we'll try to explain it. Okay. So suppose let's say you made a change on the um, firewall. Okay, I'll make a change. I'll click OK. So now it is showing me to commit the changes. Before I am making the change, it is in the candidate config. It is not implemented yet. Okay, so whatever before if there is no commit, that's a running configuration. If it is there before commit, then that's the candidate configurations. So here, as we can see, so we can revert to the last save configuration as well, revert to the running configuration as well. Okay, so this is about the revert tabs. The save tabs, we can save the candidate configuration, like whatever we have done the changes, we can save that and save the name snapshots. Like snapshots are nothing but maybe image of configuration file that we can have. Okay, so we have we have downloaded the file, right? Suppose after making any changes, you have got a fresh device and you need to import configuration to the device. So what we can do first, we need to load the configuration snapshot and import that here, and then do a commit to the device. So it will give us a new configuration that we are uploading. Suppose let's say you have 10 devices and all those 10 devices have its own configuration. Instead of doing one by one configuration, you can import the configuration device state. So we can import it here, like browse a file, select that file name, and then we can import those configurations. So this is all about the operations, how to take a backup of the device. Okay. The next thing is how to upgrade the device. So the current version is 9.0.4. So if we want to upgrade this device to the next version, okay, for that, first
Can I
thing,
ask you a question?
yes, please.
Uh,
Yeah. Do you have any question?
Suppose two core switches and are connected with this firewall, right? And we want to take backup of core switches also. So instead of doing one by one, can we take backup of all the configuration files of the switches? Is it possible?
Switches or firewalls?
I'm asking like switch is connected, core switch is connected to the firewall, right?
Yeah.
So configuration of the firewall
In
we
that
can take,
case,
we can take, but is there any facility? Is there any option to take switches configuration as a backup through the firewall?
no, there is no
No.
such
Okay.
function that is available. Yeah. But if we have,
Thank you.
yeah, this is kind of a very different thing that I'm explaining. But if we have Panorama, right, we can take a backup of all the firewalls together. No need to
Okay.
take one by one. Yeah, that is done through Panorama.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So next thing is how to upgrade the firewall. So to upgrade the firewall, the first thing that we need to make sure that, if we don't have license, right? So here we, as of now, we don't have any license here. So that's the reason we are not able to see any of the files here. Okay. Otherwise, whenever the firewall has the license, it will show what all the latest versions that are available. So it's first we need to download it and then install it. Okay. Suppose let's say currently the 9 is my current version. Okay. I want to upgrade it to 11.2. Okay. My target version is 11.2. You cannot directly jump from 9 to 11.2. Say there is a step-by-step uh, process in it. Okay, how to go to 11.2. Okay, the first thing is we need to download and install the base version of 10.0. Okay, so this is base version, which is download and install. Next, once the base 10 is done, we need to download 11.0, download and install. And then once the base version is done, we can go to 11.2. So it's not recommended directly to jump to 9.2 to 11.2. So we always need to have a base version downloaded and installed on the firewall. Okay. And so this is when we have an internet access. This is when we have the firewall has a license. So this is how we can upgrade the devices through this portal. Okay. Or else we can upload the file here. So we can download the file which is available with us from the customer support portal or something. So we can upload that file over here and then we can install that version to the firewall and upgrade it. So whenever we upgrade the device, it will always take a reboot. So always do the upgradation while we are in a maintenance window. So not in the production time. So we always do the upgradation part during the maintenance window, because the firewall will take a reboot. And if the firewall is taking a reboot, then whatever the user traffic that is coming from here, they will the firewall will straight away drop those things. They cannot reach towards the internet or any sort of servers the firewall has access to, or it is forwarding the traffic. So it's always recommended to do the upgrade while we are in the maintenance window, and also make sure we understand what is the target version, how we can what are the steps that we need to take while we are if we are going to jump to the largest target version. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions regarding taking backup and software upgrade.
Palo Alto releases some dynamic updates, probably weekly, right? Maybe
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
so this is again a dynamic updates. Dynamic updates are nothing but like antivirus, URL filtering versions, antivirus application versions. So these all things will come under dynamic updates. So again, this will also come when we have a license to the device. Since this device doesn't have the license, so I cannot. So it is possible when we have a physical device without license, these all things can be visible. But since it is a VM device, here it is not visible. Either we can
So
upload it.
before applying dynamic updates, we have to do any backup activity, any
We have too
taking
many.
any snapshot. We have Do we have to do any backup activity like taking a snapshot or any taking backup information?
No, not required. Dynamic updates, we will keep it as every 5 minutes, like some of the wildfire updates and some of the URL filtering updates. We will keep it as one every day. So we don't need, it is an automatic process actually. So we don't need to take any types of backups while we are doing the dynamic update. And in some scenarios, like some dynamic updates will disrupt the firewall functionality. Like it's very rare case if there is any CV or anything like that. So in that case, you may have to take a backup. Otherwise, it is not required.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ma'am, do this Palo Alto do TACAS also adds the system on TACAS? So
Yeah.
firewall it is done or what?
So what these radius, LDAP, so these are all authentication methods, right? Suppose let's say you have your user integration on the LDAP or TechX. So we can integrate those servers here, and we can authenticate those users through these profiles. So this is useful when we are doing user identification, right? So there are thousands of users and the username is, suppose, let's say, uh, maybe what's any one of the first name. So Arun S. So if we want to detect Arun S, so that's the user identification part. So the users are authenticating on the LDAP servers. So that LDAP server we need to integrate on the firewall, and we can configure the user identification here. Yeah. Any other questions?
This SNMP trap is what it is in server profiles?
Yeah, so these are different types of server profiles that we can create. SNMP traps, syslog servers, email, HTTP. So these server profiles, so we can configure here and call under either authentication profile or under user identification. Okay, so today I just wanted to cover how exactly the topology that we have and what firewall the GUI looks like. And also the one more thing I wanted to show you about the session installation. Any questions? Okay. So now let's try and understand how this management CPU keeps on increasing, okay? So in the CLI session, so we can always do some of the basic things, like if we want to see certain things and all. Suppose, let's say that I was about to show you how this management CPU, as I said, the management CPU is responsible for the configuration, right? So I'm going to do a commit now, and once we do a commit, so whatever the commit that we do, these are called jobs on the firewall. Okay. So we can see the job is running here, which is like in a pending and which is around 0%, right? So now, what is the ID of this job? 4. So what we can do, show job ID 4. So before the commit, it was in 33%. It was holding that configuration. See, once as I said, the firewall will be the management CPU is responsible to um, do the commit or configuration changes. So once I pushed that configuration, the management CPU occupied and the CPU usage is spiked. So it will come down in a minute, like once the job is done, so it will come back again to the normal state. So since the device is very basic, so that's the reason even with a single commit, it spiked up to 61%. But in real-time scenarios, it is not the same way. Okay. So if we see again, so here we can see the details, the configuration committed successfully, and you can see the status of the job as well, which is finished and which is okay. Okay. And if we refresh it here, so it will come back in a minute, in some time. So, okay. And now, if we want to see what all the sessions that are active on the firewall, so the command is show session all, and you can see there is only one active session on the firewall. So if we want to see what this session ID is doing, right? So it is 160. Okay, so how the firewall will install the session? Okay, you can see the session is C2S flow and S2C flow. Any idea what are the 6 tuples of the firewall? What are the tuples of the firewall? Like how exactly the firewall will see when it hits to the interface. Okay, so there are 6 tuples in the firewall. One is source IP, destination IP, source port, destination port, and zone and protocol. So these are 6 tuples in the firewalls. So based on these 6 tuples, it will install client to server flow, server to client flow. Okay, so this is again very important while we are troubleshooting any traffic related issues. Okay, so here we can see in the C2S flow, first, whenever how the firewall session needs to be installed on the firewall before it gets processed further, right? So how the session is installed by looking at these 6 information, like source IP is here, destination IP is here. Okay, this is protocol, this is source port, and this is destination port. Okay, by looking at these 6 information, it will decide what is the egress of the traffic, how we can egress the traffic, and through which interface. So whenever, I mean, what is the goal of the firewall? What is the ultimate goal it needs to do is whenever the traffic that comes in, it need to check, it will inspect the traffic and it need to exit that traffic, right? It need to egress that traffic. It need to send out that traffic towards the destination. So how it will decide the destination? By looking at the destination IP address, port, protocols. So here you can see the C2S flow is this and S2C flow is exactly reverse of that, right? So it is like 8.8.8 to the source became 8.8.8 and the destination became the source. So it will reverse the traffic and it will install the traffic back in. And apart from this, we can also see the other informations here. So the URL filtering is enabled or not, whether layer CN processing is enabled or not, or the session is logged at end or at the beginning, or what is the application. You can see the application is DNS, right? That the destination port is 53, so the application is DNS. Okay, and the other like time to live, timeout. So these session informations are helpful whenever we are inspecting certain traffic related issues and other things. Okay. Any questions?
Oh, yeah, hi, Bhagishri. I think good enough for the day, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I was about to finish today. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the time today. I hope you like the content today and the session was really informative. Who really wants to, like get into the network security. Okay, so let's meet by Monday, and you will be having access for the live class plus recordings and lab access. So you can enroll who have not taken the admissions. So tomorrow we have, last day for the offer. So please connect with the admission team. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Bhagishri.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.